Thanks for your company. Government is taking steps to start the double track or semester system to boost enrollment under its flagship free senior high school program. According to Education Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, the system will close an enrollment gap of 181,099. Currently, 90,000 spaces are available for the 2018 September intake. In a system running currently, which is the single track system, students and staff are in school or vacation at the same time within an academic year. But the double year-round system divides the entire student body and staff into two different tracks. So while one track is in school, the other is on vacation. The rotation structure, the year-round calendar will be used, is what I just gave you an example. Now, presently, the school calendar starts from September and ends in April with 3 different terms. The first term is from September to December, the second term, January to April, and the third is from April, May to July. Now, I'll be bringing you some further details on that, just so we understand exactly what all this is about. But we'll be joined shortly by founder of iFirst. Thanks for your time, sir. Now, we are being told the ministry and GS have been engaging in some consultations with other stakeholders for some months, and in the document presented by the minister, there is a rollout plan that involves stakeholder consultation and development strategy or for media strategy. And the Institute for Education Studies, iFirst, has been carrying out some studies on the proposed double-track system. Now, you maintain it may well be a good policy with some advantages. And Dr. Prince Ama, first, why is this the surest way of addressing the problem?
Thanks very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. Let me answer your question by giving a preface to that. We have been very much concerned as a country that a large proportion of our young people are unable to access senior secondary school just on the basis of the previous assessment system that was used. That is over 60%, roughly 40% of our people who finished junior high school were unable to access secondary school because of the previous system that we were running. Now, what government, and many stakeholders were concerned that where are these 40% of students going each year? Where is their fate? So I think that led to the MPP suggesting a free senior high school program that has currently resulted in about 92% of our students being placed in secondary school. Now, the issue then is that having implemented this program last year, we are at the moment confronted with facility issues, access in terms of physical space for our young people to study. And so in many countries where overcrowding has become an issue in the classrooms, multi-track system has been the best alternative under such circumstances. Now, in our current context, even if we have the resources at the moment, we cannot be able to construct classrooms or expand facilities to be able to accommodate these young people in September. Now, we do know that roughly we are expecting around 472,000 BEC candidates to qualify for the senior high school. And the Ministry of Education has given some data suggesting that they have facilities, they have spaces for about 280,000 students, given that 273,000 students were the senior high school Form 3 students who wrote the WASI, and that they have managed to get additional 13,000 students. So if we put them together, we roughly around 85,000. And now when we just oppose that with 472,000 students we are looking at, then obviously there's a gap. Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves is whether or not we should allow our young people who have qualified for secondary school to stay at home just on the basis of infrastructure deficit. And that's why adopting this mechanism that will allow us to optimally use the infrastructure available and also address the potential issue of impediment to secondary school for some of our young people.
Now,
and so I think that's a very innovative, and we back the policy direction of government.
All right, it's interesting you say you back the system, but you speak of advantages of this system. How do you respond to concerns the quality of education may be compromised, as obviously the period of stay in school will reduce despite the increase in contact hours?
I think people have not averted their minds to the data. In actual fact, I see that teachers are even going to have more time in school. You see, if you look at the fact that for example, let me give you how the system is going to run, and I'll show you how the hours are going to increase. Now, they are going to do 162 days in the whole academic year. In this 162 days, they will be spending 8 hours. That comes to around 1,290 hours, which is more than the previous hours of 1,080 hours spent in school. So there's increment in number of content hours, even though there's a reduction in number of days. And so the teachers are actually going to even work more. But let me also make this important point, that there is always a significant effect or positive effect on the number of, on class size and learning outcome. The higher the class size, the lower the learning outcome. And the lower the class size, the higher the learning outcome. And so when you have such a system, what is going to happen is that with 290,000 spaces available, if we're to divide the 472,000 students who are coming, we are talking around 260 thereabout, 265 thereabout students for a particular track. So you have 265,000 students for track A and 265,000 students, say, for track B. And now with abundant spaces, it means that the class size is going to reduce. And there's also an issue of teacher stress. When teachers stay in school for a long time, there's the issue of stress coming in, both on the part of the teachers and on the part of students. And so in terms of learning outcomes, I do not think that this is going to cause much of a problem. In fact, the available empirical evidence, and we have to refer to what research has said, and many of the papers that I have reviewed, including PhD theses that have been conducted on multi-tracking, they appear to have similar learning outcomes, and even I mean, in many cases, better learning outcome even compared to the traditional system, especially for people from underserved and deprived areas.
All right, Doc. There is the issue of availability of teachers, even with the current system that we run. We've been to schools where there are not enough teachers to cater for the numbers. How then, or how sure are we that this multi-track system will have the needed number of teachers so as to prevent them from stressing themselves, like you mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, at the secondary school level, as far as the data I have suggests that we do have adequate teachers in secondary school compared to the public schools, compared to the junior high school or basic school. But I think that the Ministry of Education has provided some data. I don't have the capacity to falsify it because there's no resources to go down there and check. But they are saying that based on the analysis that they have done, they will require additional 8,000 8,000 teachers to be appointed or employed. And what will happen is that these 8,000 teachers will be added to the existing number of teachers, and then redistribution of teachers across the student population will be done.
I mentioned if these 8,000 teachers are available.
We do have more than 8,000 teachers in the system. In fact, we have trained quite a number of teachers
engaged,
who are currently not engaged. We have a lot of unemployed teachers in the system. The University of Education, Winneba, where I teach, produces a lot of secondary school teachers in math, science, and the rest. And Cape Coast does so, University of Cape Coast does so. And so there are so many teachers who are in the system and currently unemployed because of the financial situation we have for ourselves as a country. And so I think this is an opportunity for young people. Last year, I think in March, 19,000 teachers were employed by the Ghana Education Service. And so I should think that government would expedite action in its commitment to employing new teachers, and so that these teachers will be available as soon as practicable. But as I have indicated, because it's a track system, the first track should be in school in September, roughly in September. And by the time they go on vacation in November, the probably recruitment process would have been concluded, and additional teachers would have been employed for the second track to commence their secondary education in November.
Right, thank you for your time. Dr. Prince Ama is founder of the Institute for Education Studies, sharing his thoughts on this new multi-track system to be introduced. The educationist, Professor Stephen Adair, says the double-track system is one of the few well-thought-through educational policies from government. Speaking to Kojo Yankson on the AM show, the renowned educationist described the new year-round intake scheme for senior high schools as an efficient solution to an emergency problem.
The scheme, but when I heard it, I was so excited, because last year I went to speak at Wesley Girls Secondary School, not Wegehe, the one in Kumasi, and I was talking to in the auditorium. The auditorium was full. At least Kwade was a bit popular to the students, so it was a voluntary one, but the place was full, and there were over 500 students standing outside the window trying to listen to me. And I say, already one intake is leading to such a situation whereby the school's auditorium is overflowing, and I don't think all the students were there. What will happen when we have a second year and a third year? So for me, it was just a nightmare. And I think that this solution, as soon as I read it, I said, wow. I thought that wisdom was only with the aged. But this one, the youth, Napo and his boys, have come up with something ingenious. The research has also shown that almost every country, when they have this free school, they have to go for that. And in fact, some countries, it has become permanent feature of the education system, including Australia, Japan, Kenya, and the rest. Even today, there are over 3,000 schools in America that runs this system. So first of all, it is a proven system. Seems why the government itself didn't find that one and then had this first year mess in terms of the numbers before. And it is doable and it is workable.
But Prof, this is to begin in September.
Yep.
And parents, families have planned around the three-term system. All of a sudden, massive change in the way we deliver education in this country. Should there not have been some consultation, some lead up to this?
Let me tell you, I think that it is almost like a sankofa. I don't think at the beginning this had been discovered. Number two, when you see some house burning, you don't go and do consultation before you find solution. When you see somebody collapse and die, you rush the person to what? Hospital. The idea was good, they implemented it, and there is a problem. And the problem of overcrowding, if we had a second year intake, so that is what type of, we are taking democracy to such an extent. When there's an emergency and you have found a solution, it's a matter of, there are about 2 months before they come in. If you are saying that, some people are going for summer holidays and the Christmas holidays, and therefore the majority of Ghanaians, 99% who don't fall into this so-called, sometimes when I used to travel, I get so angry. Ghanaians, I meet them with children, 5 years old, 3 years old. The one day I was going to South Africa. He said, "Oh, I'm taking the children to holidays in South Africa." Excuse me to say, I almost said in my
All right, so let me just help us understand basically what is happening here and why government thinks that we need that multi-track system for the senior high school program here in Ghana. So this is the trend we are given by the Minister of Education per his presentation. And you can see that there's a rise between 2016 and 2017 when this is a BC registration, 2017, where free SHS started. There was 468,060 pupils. And then in 2018, that's this year, there was 11.5% increase. And so the number there is 521,710. Let's move quickly to the 2018 projection. So as a result of that, the ministry is expecting that 497,610 students will be placed and 472,730 of them will be enrolled. Out of that number, they're expecting that 24,880 will be placed but not enrolled. All right, let's move quickly to the senior high school enrollment trend. 2016 to 2017, there's a 17.2% increase, and the government believes that's as a result of the free senior high school program. But this year, they're expected to increase by some 30.7% in 2018. Definitely, there is a gap, and we are being told that the available seats are 277,537, and they have been able to create some 13,200 seats. Total seats available as a result of adding this to that, 290,737. But there still is a gap, and it's 181,993 if you do the math between the number of students expected and the seats available. Now, don't let me bore you with too much statistics. This is the grand plan to be able to bridge that gap, I beg your pardon. And it involves putting up 6-unit classroom blocks, 622 of them, getting some 181,993 furniture, 3,730 furniture tables for teachers, dormitories 415. Now, when they cost all of this, it's 1,338,083,639. And we're not being told if this is in cedis or dollars. But here is the big one. We are being told that even if we have all the funds, we cannot build quick enough for 2018 entrance. And that's why government is proposing this multi-track system. And it also has some other proposed options to close the gap, and that's to appeal to development partners for support, partial securitization of GET Fund receivables for infrastructure development, capping GET Fund at 25%, and the double-track school calendar. So per what we have received, the double-track school calendar is not the solution to the entire problem. Government hopes to incorporate all these other elements and that to be able to deal with the enrollment. Quite a lot of details then. Definitely as we proceed and get reactions from the ministry and other stakeholders, we will definitely get more understanding of this multi-track system the government is hoping to introduce.